Everybody has a problem, but some of us, we don't want to reveal it because it will be a kind of dignity issue, we think. But I am telling you, my dear brothers and sisters, we all are one single family under the umbrella of our beloved Swami. Everything, he is the one who sits behind and keeps moving us. Who are we to claim that we did everything? Sometimes Swami drops you and you are about to fall and you will be about to touch the ground. That's when he will come and lift you. Until then, he will let you suffer. Go around, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. Immediately, especially when this brother said he cannot support, I ran to Swami right away. And immediately I told him, look, I don't know what you will do. I am going to pray to you because there are so many things lying in this during this time. So everything needs to be taken care. So I don't know what you will do, Swami. I am going to pull a book right now. You have to give me an answer. I mean, what is it? Give you the apt answer that you can never ever imagine. How can you imagine that he will give you this kind of answer? And imagine my situation at that point of time. I burst out and I cried like anything for half an hour or so, seeing his mercy, seeing his grace, and also feeling that he is every moment with us. Sai Ram, my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan. So, Sai Ram everyone. So, today I wanted to share some unique experience. In 2005, I went to Puttaparthi to attend the Varalakshmi Puja that was being conducted in Kulwant Hall. So, I was lucky enough to be one among them. So, after the Varalakshmi Puja, when I was trying to return back, before that, I mean, we all were gathered there with all wearing the same type of saris, same color, same pattern, everything, and we all were seated there. Finally, Swami came for a round, and there from far, he just looked at us, and I felt as though he was looking at me, and the wordings he said was, "You two are here?" This is what he said, and I nodded my head, "Yes, Swami," and then he just blessed and he left. So it was a feeling that everybody felt that it was as though it was asked for themselves. So I felt so happy, and I just came back, and later I came to Bangalore and I boarded the flight. When I was sitting in the flight for the flight, suddenly what happened? Swami gave me 3 thoughts. These were the messages actually. He just it came out from my heart. In a feeble voice, he said that don't brood over the past. I'll repeat it again. Don't brood over the past. Then he said, don't dream about the future. Again he said, don't dream about the future. Then he said, always be in the present. Always be in the present. As you know, that's why he is omnipresent. So don't brood over the past, don't dream about the future, always be in the present. This was the first message he gave me. The second message, he said, be attached in a detached manner. Once again, be attached in a detached manner. This was the second message. And the third message, he said, don't look for me outside, look for me within you. Don't look for me outside, look for me within you. So I'm still struggling to see that, because anywhere I go around, I want to see Swami's picture. So I'm still unable to go inward, which I have to really work on to get inside. That is the ultimate goal, that he wants us to go inside and feel that he and we are one. So that's one thing. So regarding the first message, he said that don't dream about the don't brood over the past and don't dream about the future, because past is past, so nothing can we do about it. And by brooding over by dreaming about the future, it is not in our hands. We never know next minute what will happen. We have no idea. Nothing is in our hands. It's all he who is playing the game. So that's why he says, because by brooding over the past and by dreaming over the future, we are missing the present. So every time since we are doing that, we are not able to enjoy anything in life, because always we have the thought of the past or about the future. So we just miss the beautiful present, what we have. That's why it's called as present as a gift. So we have to be kind of glued to the present, always in the present. So that in that case, never will I have any room for brooding over the past, neither dreaming about the future. So that was a beautiful message that Swami gave me, and I was really stunned that what a kind of beautiful message and what a provoking and profound message he gave me. So I started to think about it. Then coming to the second message, be attached in a detached manner. When I came back from India that in 2005, that's the time, the first time both the children are leaving from home to go to college. So until then they were with us. So they are leaving to college, but I don't know what kind of transformation Swami did to me. When they left to college, I didn't have the longing or the feeling of crying so badly that my children are leaving me. He already prepared me by the time I came from Parthi to US, that to be attached in a detached manner. So be attached to your children, but at the same time be detached. That's the lesson he gave me. So when I see them, I'll be so attached because they are my children. They are right in front of me. But when they are away from me, I leave them to Swami and I focus on the present, as he said. And believe me, brothers and sisters, from that time onwards, always my thoughts will be that moment. Even before that, I had the same feeling. That moment, anything, let's say today, some party or something took place, I will be in that mode. Let's say I'm watching a movie, I'll be in that mode. But once I come out of it, that's it, that's gone. Move on to the next. So always I try to be in that. So likewise, let's say I'm going to somebody's house or somebody is visiting us, my thoughts will be revolving only around them. How I can take care of them, what can I do for them? Or when I go to their house, oh, how can I have fun with them? What can we do? What can I learn from them? So my thoughts will be around them, or if they come here, it will be around them here. So always it was in the present. So there is no room about brooding over the past or dreaming about the future. Though it comes, of course, sometimes let's say we come to hear about like this pandemic what has come right now, like that, any kind of disaster that takes place, my heart will be really kind of pounding and feel so bad, so worried. What I do is, the best solution for that is, that particular same night I will tell him, Swami, please come and appear in my dream so that I know that disaster or that thing, that incident will not affect me. I just pray to him and go to bed. Until then I will have that feeling. But the moment I go to bed, and the lovely Swami, he will definitely appear in my dream when I ask him. And once he appears, that's it. The next day morning when I get that vision, oh, Swami's picture came in my dream, that's it. That feeling will never affect me at all. That's how I have been brought up. I've been, the way I'm trying to see myself. I'm always trying to be in the present. So this is one thing. I'm coming to the detached. Same way, when my children left, I didn't have that kind of a longing or feeling. I just felt, okay, Swami is going to take care of them. Why should I worry? Then comes the third, that Swami said, look for me within you, don't look for me outside. But on that, still I'm working. I'm not, as you see here so many pictures. So still I'm attracted to his picture and very attached to his picture as well. So probably I have to start to look for him within me. I have to go inward, and again, even for that, I need his blessings and his grace. So I thought to share this beautiful message with you. So finally, I came back from India. I came back to US, and initially, before coming to Swami's fold, I used to do lots and lots of recite lots and lots of slokas and do lots of prayers and pujas. But once I came back to Swami, for some reason I used to do 3 hours puja every day. They used to even tease me. This lady will always be in the puja room. I used to be like that, but once I came to Swami's fold, it was always, as I told you, I'll be in the present, right? So once I came to Swami's fold, it's all bhajan. Nothing but bhajan. But only 2 prayers I was still holding on to. One was the Saundarya Lahari. That first sloka I will chant 1008 times non-stop. That is only mainly for the healing prayer. As a healing prayer I used to do for others. The Saundarya Lahari. Then the other thing I used to do was the Hanuman Chalisa. This when I was living in Vancouver, the temple priest, in Mahalakshmi temple priest, he used to tell that if you chant Hanuman Chalisa 12 times a day, 36 days in a row. Once again I will repeat, it's 12 times a day, 36 days in a row. If you repeat it, if you recite it, so all the whatever prayer, like this is for mainly again for health purpose, so that a problem will be solved. They'll get better, or they'll be healed. So for that purpose you have to do this chanting he mentioned. So I thought, okay, this is also again for the good cause, for others, for the people, for the sake of others. Why don't I cultivate that to do that? And I started to continue that one as well. Of course, Soundaralari, whenever is needed, wherever when anybody calls me, I go ahead and do that. And otherwise, the Hanuman Chalisa was a regular thing that I was doing. So what happened when I came back from India, and again this prayer for the priest, he mentioned this to all of us, to the public, and one time it so happened his own son was in trouble, and he mentioned it during after the lecture, he mentioned that if you can, please pray for my son too, because it so happened he got brain fever and we are really upset. He lives in Bangalore, so if you can, you pray for him, he told. He told us. So immediately I thought, when I came home, I told my husband, he is doing prayer and pujas for our sake, for all of our sake. Is it not our duty to pray for him, for his family, for his own child? And my husband, he is a very genuine person. He said, yeah, please go ahead, and we should do it. Please go ahead and do it. So I started to do that prayer, and on the 36th day, believe me or not, brothers and sisters, but in the meantime, whenever we used to go to the temple, my husband was telling, my wife is doing that prayer for your son's sake, since you mentioned she is doing that for your child. He was so happy. And then on the 36th day, when I was about to finish that, I just finished that prayer, that same evening the priest is calling from the temple, and he said, guess what, by Swami's grace my child is survived now. He is away from the brain fever now, so everything is normal and the child is perfectly fine. I cannot thank your wife, I cannot thank your wife. So this Sunday, please make sure you whole family please come to the temple. Every week we used to go. So that Sunday also, as usual, we went along with the children. The moment he saw us, after the prayer was over, he called us and made us to stand in the front of the public, and he did announce to everyone, this lady, this was in 92 actually, 93 actually, several years ago. So he told this girl, I just told her that this is a problem and that my son is going through, but she took it as a service, and she did this prayer for my son. I'm so touched with it, not because she prayed this prayer, but whatever I say, I do not know how many of you take it into your ears and go leave this temple, but she took it seriously. And not only that, she didn't do it for herself, but she did it for my child, which is I bow down to her devotion. That's what he told me. He told us, and then in front of the public, he just said that continue to do this. And then he told others also the same way, whatever we talk here, please make sure don't come to the temple just for the sake of coming, and don't come and sit here and listen just for the sake of listening. Just understand that and see if you could take it for something for yourselves, and try to inculcate that and try to work on that. It will be benefit to you, your family, and for the others. He just mentioned this, and then on top of that, he blessed us, and he gave a dhoti and towel for my husband, and a sari, beautiful sari for me, and for my children he gave some gifts, some kind of gifts. So that prayer was stuck in my mind. So coming back to the story, after I came back from Parthi, from India, that next day, Monday, I sat down to do the same prayer, that 12 times. So generally I used to have beads or matchsticks for the sake of counting. So I used to have 12 in number. So that day also, as usual, I just chanted one time, and I took one of the bead and I was trying to put aside to say number 1. The moment I tried to do that, immediately within me, Swami's voice, he said, it's not number 1, it's the only Sai. I was really taken back. What is this a new message Swami is giving? Then I started to recite again. For number 2, again, okay, number 2. I just tried to say that. He said, no, it's not number 2. It is Lavakush. And I was really I thought, oh, something is going on. Then I started to recite. For number 3, he said, it's Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Number 4, he said, it's Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Chatrughna. And number 5, he said, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula and Sakadev. And then for number 6, he said, Lord Shanmuga with 6 faces. Number 7, he said, is Saptaswara, Sarigama Padani. And then number 8, he said, is Lord Krishna. And for number 9, he said, it's 108,008, my number, number 9. And he just said that. As you know, number 9 also represents the 9 Navavida Bhakti, the 9 types of devotion. That's why always number 9 is very auspicious. When you see they'll do 108 Kalasha, 1008 Kalasha, 108 times you have to chant. So they say this, the purpose behind that is number 9 is so auspicious. And then number 10, he said Tasavadara. And for number 11, he said Bhagawan Sathya Sai Baba. So if you count that, this was in Tamil, he told me. So if you count it, Bhagavan is 4 letters, Satya is 3 letters, Sai is 2 letters, and then Baba is 2 letters. So if you count, there are 11 of them, 11 in number. And I said, oh, Bhagavan Sathya Sai Baba. Yes, Swami. Also Bhagavan Shirdi Sai Baba. Oh, Shirdi Sai Baba. Again, he said, also Bhagavan Prema Sai Baba. So when I counted, I thought, yeah, he is right. Satya, Prema, Shirdi, all 3 are in only 3 letters. Isn't it amazing? I thought myself. And then I said, thank you, Swami. And then finally, when I was about to put for number 12, he said, Satya, Prema, Shirdi, Ondre. He said like that. In Tamil. Shirdi, no, he said, Shirdi, Satya, Prema, Ondre. And it was so nice to hear Swami talking in Tamil, hearing his voice in Tamil. I was really overwhelmed. I was thrilled to hear that. So it was amazing how Swami says, initially he said for 11, Bhagavan Sathya Sai Baba, Bhagavan Shirdi Sai Baba, Bhagavan Prema Sai Baba. And then finally he came and ended up in number 12. As you know, I told I am counting only 12 numbers. Exactly at the number 12 he said this, Shirdi Satya Prema Ondre. So isn't it amazing that he said, he's the same Shirdi, he's the same Sathya Sai Baba, and he's the one who is going to come as Prema Sai Baba. So I was really touched by that. And this got over, and that same day evening, after the prayer, I just came down to start my work in the kitchen. One of my friend's mother called. So when I was talking to her, she said, my dear, I told her, I explained this thing to her. She was so touched, and she said, you know what, Jayanthi, I want to keep in touch with you. So please make sure that you keep in touch with me. You give me your email address. I said, okay, auntie, I'll give you my email address. So saying, I started to tell. So generally you say A for apple, B for boy, C for cat, etc. Right? So I also started to tell my name this way, my email address. Oh, here, auntie, please note it down. J for joy, A for adoration, Y for yearning, A for adoration, N for noble, T for truth, H for heaven, I for India, and M for mercy, O for omnipresent, H for heaven, A for adoration, and N for noble, at hotmail.com. I just said this, and I didn't realize that I told like this. I just said this, then immediately she said, Jayanthi, she screamed. I said, what happened, auntie? What are you saying, Amma? Auntie, I just told my email address. No, remember for each word what kind of words you used. And only then I thought, yeah, she's right. Where did these words come from? Because generally I say, oh, J for jug, and A for apple, Y for yellow, something like that. But where did I get these kind of words? So I thought, okay, probably Swami is doing something in me. In anything I do, probably he is trying to connect me with the spirituality. That's what I thought. So finally, after I told her, I said, auntie, just in case you give me your phone number, also let me note it down. So she was telling the number, and I was just trying to jot down in a paper. When my pen was about to touch the paper, immediately within me he said, generally if a pen writes or not, you used to scribble and see, right, whether it's writing or not. So I was trying to touch the pen was about to touch the paper to scribble. Immediately he said, no, don't scribble, write Sai and see. So from that day till today, if I want to test a pen is writing or not, I used to just write Sai and see. And from me, even my husband started to get that habit. So but the reason I shared all these experiences were that I went and saw Swami and came back, and what a kind of transformation I got after my return from here, seeing him. So this was the unique experiences that I had that I wanted to share this time. So when you also try to do that, please think about all these things, that 1 to 12, the numbers, what Swami said. And if you want to utter a name, what kind of, for the abbreviations, what kind of name, like values you can use. Like I told you the alphabet values the other day, he gave me A to Z. And then when you want to write test out a pen, make sure you write Sai and C. And finally, right after this, there was also the next day, the very next day or the same day, my husband got a paper. He told me that I need to sign that paper, a paper or a check or something. So I was trying to, again the same way, I was trying to put the pen to sign. Immediately he said, no, try to pretend to write Sai Baba and then you write the name, sign your name. So from that day till today, if I want to write, sign any document or anything for that matter, I pretend as though I am writing Sai Baba as though like pretending, and then I will write my name. I will sign my name. So overall, if you see, in everything, whatever I do, he wants me to put himself first. He wants me to put him first and then start the job. So I was very happy to share all these experiences, and it's just bringing back all my beautiful memories which happened 15 years ago. So I thought to share that with all of you. I'm going to share about Swami that he gave me one day, alphabetic chain of human values. So this is from A to Z. He just started to give me the thoughts, and as the thoughts were going on, as the flow was going on, I just started to jot it down, which I would like to share today. A, admire the inner beauty. A, admire the inner beauty. B, beauty should reflect in our character. B, beauty should reflect in our character. C, character starts with devotion. C, character starts with devotion. D, devotion removes our ego. Devotion removes our ego. E, ego is an enemy to faith. Ego is an enemy to faith. F, faith leads to God. Faith leads to God. G, God is in every heart. God is in every heart. H, heart contains gems of ideals. Heart contains gems of ideals. I, ideal results in inner joy. Ideals results in inner joy. J, joy reflects in kindness. Joy reflects in kindness. K, kindness spreads love. Kindness spreads love. L, love includes morality. Love includes morality. M, morality leads to nobility. Morality leads to nobility. N, nobility is inherent to oneness. Nobility is inherent to oneness. O, oneness requires perseverance. Oneness requires perseverance. P, perseverance is a great quality. Perseverance is a great quality. Q, quality life requires righteousness. Quality life requires righteousness. R, righteousness can lead to Sai. Righteousness can lead to Sai. S, Sai is truth. Sai is truth. T, truth is universal. Truth is universal. U, universal love leads to victory. Universal love leads to victory. V, victory delights winners. Victory delights winners. W, winners always excel. Winners always excel. Excel and yearn. Excel and yearn. Why? Yearn with zeal. Yearn with zeal. Sai Ram. This was the human values, alphabetic chain human values that Swami gave me. I was really thrilled. Initially I just jotted it down, and then when I started to go through, I noticed that how from A to Z has given perfectly each and every, for every letter, all kinds of values towards that. So I was really touched by that, and I cannot thank Swami enough. I think this happened in 2006 or something. So just felt like sharing. This happened in 2007. One day, casually, when I was just sitting and working on the computer, suddenly Swami gave this thought all about the word S. And it's all related to S words. It's related to the bhajans, all about the bhajan singing. I was really amazed when I started to write it down as Swami gave those thoughts. And then later when I just took a look at it, it was really, unbelievable. So which I would love to share right now. So let me share that. And please notice all the S words. Our sweet Swami, Sri Sathya Sai, remember all our S. Our sweet Swami, Sri Sathya Sai, reminds us of the power of bhajan singing and encourages us to continue with that sadhana unceasingly. Following are the 27 yes words. Note the number, Swami is number 9. Following are 27 yes words to assist us in our sadhana of bhajan singing. 1. Sacred. Remember that bhajan singing is a sacred activity. 2. Same. Sing the same bhajan repeatedly until you are thorough. Swami is a perfect example for that. 3. Sanctified. Singing bhajans makes our life sanctified. Select. Select bhajans according to the theme or occasion, if applicable. In any case, choose what you love. 5. Seva. Singing bhajans with raga, tala and bhava is a seva to everyone, including our beloved Swami. Significant. Bhajan makes for a significant activity of our daily life. 7. Simple. Simple bhajans are easier to follow for most people, so let us do that. 8. Sincere. Let our bhajan singing be sincere to our hearts. 9. Skip. Skip the worldly thoughts while engrossed into the bhajans. 10. Smile. Sing the bhajans admiring Swami with a smile to please him. 11. Soft. Soft voice makes bhajans melodious, unlike my voice. 12. Solo. Solo bhajans can help to be with Swami, so sing bhajans when you are alone. 13. Soothing. Make sure our bhajan singing is soothing to Swami's ears. 14. Soulfully. Sing the glories of the Lord Sai soulfully since he loves them. 15. Special. Every bhajan is special. 16. Speed. Follow the desired speed pattern of the given bhajan without unduly changing the pace while singing. 17. Spiritual. Bhajans being a namasmarana sadhana lead us on the spiritual path. 18. Splendid. Bhajan singing is a splendid opportunity bestowed on us. 19. Spontaneous. Let bhajan singing be suffused with spontaneous of love and devotion. Stable. Bhajan keeps our minds stable. 21. Steady. Keep your focus steady while singing bhajans. 22. Straight. Sit straight to sing the bhajans with full energy. 23. Students. Always listen to the students of Swami as role model bhajan singers. Again, I want to emphasize on that. Number 23. Students. Always listen to the students of Swami as role models, as a role model for bhajan singers. 24. Suitable. Select bhajans that are suitable for your voice. 25. Support. Always support the lead singer by following the bhajans well. Again, support. Always support the lead singer by following the bhajans well. 26. Syllable. Pronounce every syllable in every word of the bhajan properly. Finally, number 27. Synchronize. Synchronize your thoughts and yearning while singing to welcome our beloved Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba into our hearts and homes. Again, synchronize. Synchronize your thoughts and yearning while singing to welcome our dear Satya Lord Sri Sathya Sai into our hearts and our homes. Sai Ram. The reason I want to narrate this is how Swami has emphasized for each and everything. It seems to be very simple, but there are so many lying inside a bhajan. So we cannot just sing a bhajan, I thought. We think that, oh, we are hearing, okay, let's follow and we want to sing. It's not the case. I realized that we have to follow each and every step of these ones. At least 90% we have to follow. Some of them we cannot. For example, in my case, if it is a melodious bhajan, I have to think, so look for another bhajan which will suit my voice. So, but we have to follow all these ones which Swami has mentioned, and I was so thankful to Swami because bhajan singing is our way, what you call weekly activity. And in my case, I would love to sing bhajans. So when Swami gave these ones, I was really grateful to Swami, and I just told Swami that I'll try my level best to follow one by one whenever I can, to whatever extent I can. This time, I want to take you all to a different aspect of our beloved Swami's grace. As you all know, every family has their own issues or problems, either health issues or lack of cooperation or financial issues. So coming to our story or our experiences that I want to share is all about financial aspect. On financial aspect, the thing is, I come from a middle class family, and from my childhood my grandma taught me to be frugal, to save money. So the same thing I followed when I came to abroad. So, and my husband was as a student and I was just doing a babysitting job. So financially we were not that well-to-do family, but by Swami's grace, I mean God's grace, we were life was going on. One day it happened, I think this was in 2003, that was the time we really went through, 2003 or 4 if I remember. We had a very tight financial crisis. So it so happened one day, it was on a Friday, I very well remember, that we had a $2 shortage for our bank balance. And from my childhood, 3 things I really hate, or I should say my grandma taught, was that never pay penalty, never pay interest, and also don't buy lottery tickets. These 3 things. Because she says, if you are very correct, we no need to pay penalty. And I also salute my father-in-law who has never ever paid penalty in his life, and I salute my husband who has followed the same trend. So never, and that's what we are taught our children too. So never pay penalty. And then interest, you know, like if you go borrow money from the credit card company, it is like the Akshaya Patra. The more you borrow, the more you have to keep paying interest, and the interest will never go down. So that's one thing we can avoid wherever we can. And then the third one is that buying lottery ticket. So my grandma always says, if you buy that kind of money, or let's say lottery ticket or even share business, whatever they call it, if you invest the money and if you get some lump sum of money, just like that, it will also be gone just like that. It will not stay with you, she used to tell me. Whatever you strive hard to work hard and you earn money, that will stay with you forever, and you will be able to fulfill all your needs. But when you think of buying like those kind of things and buy and get those kind of money, that will not stay with you, she used to tell me. So somehow that just got stuck in my mind. So I used to be very careful that we don't want to pay any penalty or neither any interest. We used to be so careful. So and we never buy lottery tickets either. So what happened this particular day, on this Friday, I came to know that we were a shortage of $2 to meet the minimum balance in the bank. So what am I to do? You can imagine how tight our financial situation was. What am I to do? I was praying to Swami the whole day. I told Swami, I don't like to pay penalty. Never I like to do that. So do something in such a way, Swami, that we'll be able to pay that $2 so that our bank balance will come to normal. The basic balance will become normal. Please, Swami, I beg you. I was praying. It was almost the evening. Didn't know how to solve this, because in some families they used to have coins or everything scattered all around the home. But I am not such person, because my grandma taught me that because it's a Mahalakshmi considered as God, don't you try to scatter the money here and there. If you get money, make sure you put it in a box, and then when you go out, go and convert that into rupees or dollars and just put it in the bank, unless you want some of the dollar bills to have it in your wallet or purse. So that particular day, unfortunately, we didn't have any single dollar to put that amount in the bank. So what am I to do? I was literally praying to Swami that don't make sure that you don't deviate me from my principle, that following this kind of discipline. So please, Swami, do something in such a way I get that $2 so that the problem will be solved. I will not get any penalty. Around 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the evening, suddenly I got a phone call, and you do all know that I do babysitting job, right? So one lady called me out of the blue, and she said, excuse me, I came to know that you do babysitting job. Would you be able to take care of my child? I know this is Friday evening, but would you be able to take care of my child? I felt so thrilled. Yes, ma'am, yes, by all means, please bring your child. And remember, in Kansas, I told you, when a person came to buy a home, he just said, I'm planning to buy this home, and within that fraction of a second, I told you, right, my imagination went to sky level. So same way, the moment this lady said that I'm going to want to bring my child, I charge $4 per hour. So the moment she said she's going to come, I thought, from 6 to 10, okay, it's almost 4 hours. So 4 and 4 into $16. So it's beyond the $2. Thank you, Swami. I was just thanking Swami so much. And I said, yes, ma'am, as many hours you want, I can take care of your child. Not a problem at all. Please come over. This is my address. Kindly come over, bring your child. And she said, listen, all I want is only from 8 to 8:30. Would you be able to take care just for that half an hour? It just kind of hit me on my mind that, remember, Swami, what he did. All I want was only $2. And remember, I charged $4, and she told only I need half an hour. Isn't it amazing how Swami calculates everything? Isn't it? So each and every bit of our move, our thought, our talk, our listening, everything, he is the one who sits behind and keeps moving us. Who are we to claim that we did everything? It's all he. So she told, only for the half an hour, will you be able to do? I said, sure, ma'am. Still, this monkey mind, I thought, in case if she comes little later, for some reason, she'll be ending up giving $4, at least for 1 hour. I just thought, but You know, I told you the Americans are very prompt on timings. That's the first thing we wanted to learn when we step into America. So the reason I am telling you was, she came on dot at 8 o'clock. And then again at 8:30 sharp, she came and rang the bell, and she just took her baby and gave the $2 and left. And immediately me and my husband, we went to the bank, put those $2, and it became the balance became normal to the basic level on the same day. I was really thrilled, and I was looking at Swami. So Swami, only whatever we need you will give us, not what we want. Right, Swami? What a profound lesson, Swami. What a beautiful lesson you have taught us. It also reminded me that, let's say we want to go from this corner to that corner, it will be pitch dark in that forest. How are you going to walk? And he says, don't worry, I'll show you the light. One step, just keep following that one step as it goes, as I show the light, then eventually you'll reach that point. So that's the message that came to my mind, that he will give us what we need, not what we want. That's a profound lesson I learned. So this was one incident. And on the same year, what happened? Suddenly we got a call from the bank saying that, from the bank or some other thing, that you are about to receive $30,000. How much? $30,000 because of this so and so whatever reason. So, but you had to take action right away. I was such a fool. I thought it is very true. And I thought, probably. And that was the time my grandma fell ill. And again, my children were, went to, my oldest son went to Parthi. And all kinds of things were happening in that year. We went through so much crisis. And when the message came, I just took it. Probably Swami is sending this money to us because we are facing this big problem. So he is sending the money. So saying, I just responded, what do you want me to do? He said, immediately you have to wire transfer $3,000 right away, but even this $3,000 will be added when you get the $30,000. And I believed everything is true, and then I wanted to go ahead and do it. And I called my husband and I told him this is what happened. He said, no my dear, don't ever believe all these things, it is all fake, never believe it. But I was so adamant, when Swami says why not, I am sure if that is not true, definitely Swami will safeguard, trust me. When we have so much belief in Swami, definitely he will safeguard if it is not true. So let us go ahead and do it. My husband was really worried, why I am not listening to him in this regard. So he said, Swami, whatever it is, you take care of it. Where will you go for the $3,000, Swami? I don't understand what she is talking about, so you please her. I told him, if you don't have, let's borrow. And then give that money, but let us borrow. And immediately once we get this 30,000, we'll pay that 3,000 so that we will not have any interest. So I was just giving all these kind of things idea to him, and he was really very upset. He didn't know what to do. And then I prayed to Swami and I told Swami, you don't worry, Swami will take care. So saying, he was not at all interested. He said, okay, you go ahead and do it. I'm not going to interfere in this because I don't have even a single feeling of this will happen. But for your satisfaction, I told, I don't know how to do it. And he said, for your satisfaction, I will do it. But whatever the result comes, let it happen with all Swami's will. Swami, you take care of it. He told Swami, and we went ahead and we are about to do that. Suddenly from the bank, the message came. No, we came to know that you are doing a wire transfer for some other place. We may know why you want to do this. Then I told the person, we told them that this is what my wife was telling. Then they said, no, it's all fake. It's absolutely fake. Please don't ever try to do that. Just withdraw that and cancel that. Don't ever do that. And then only I realized, oh my God, what a blunder mistake I was about to do. In spite of my husband telling me what I was supposed to do like this, thank God our Swami saved us. So, and exactly on that very moment, at that critical moment, I told you, right, sometimes Swami drops you and you are about to fall and you will be about to touch the ground. That's when he will come and lift you. Until then he will let you suffer. Go around, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. But I will teach you a lesson, and then at the same time I will protect you and that moment he will come and lift us up. Likewise, at that exact moment, Swami came and saved us. And then I learned my big lesson, never ever believe on these kind of phone calls or anything. That was the lesson I learned. This was like 17 years ago. Because that the situation and the surrounding and the feeling, all that I was going through made me to go to any extent. But that's when we have to be really careful. That's the lesson I learned. And I bowed down to my husband for correcting me. So this was one incident. Now moving forward after several years, this was the time that our children got married. We need to conduct the reception. That was the first and beautiful event in our family, the big event that we wanted to conduct. So where will we go for the money? And please listen, my dear brothers and sisters, what are the elders, how Swami, how he plays the game. We didn't know what to do, and I have told you earlier, I don't like the interest to pay for the amount, right? And again, I don't want to believe in this lottery anymore. I don't believe in that. And then I don't want to pay any penalty either. And then in this case, no penalty, no room for penalty, but we need the money. And as a reception, you know what a kind of amount we need for it. So what to do? I don't want to pay interest. So the only other option is ask your friends. So I went ahead and asked one of our Sai brothers that will you be able to do this? And unfortunately he said he will not be able to support us. Then what to do? So this will be the case with everybody whom we ask, because it's a lump sum of amount. What to do? So I prayed to Swami. I started to cry because I don't want to give up this program. That is the first thing that we are doing for our children, and I really wanted to do that program. I want to conduct that event for them. Same time, we are short. We are in need of money. And I thought, if this is the case, so what if we can't? We will not be able to conduct it. Oh my God, no way, no way. We have not done anything for them from their childhood. We have just got only what they need. We have never done anything other than that. But this is an important occasion in their lives. It's like one time in life that everybody would love to do for their children. So same with us too, Swami. What shall I do? So I was so depressed, so desperate and depressed. So immediately, especially when this brother said he cannot support, I ran to Swami right away. And immediately I told him, look, I don't know what you will do. I am going to pray to you, because there are so many things lying in this during this time. So everything needs to be taken care. So I don't know what you will do, Swami. I am going to pull a book right now. You have to give me an answer. I just told him like that, and immediately I took a book and I just opened the page, and I just want to read that to you, what I just shared that with my children. Let me read that to you. So I told Swami that, Swami, I want you to take care of our children's loan and the debts and the money we have borrowed from our friends that we need to owe. This was earlier we borrowed. At the same time, we are very perplexed, do not know how we are going to manage money wise. So please, Swami, give us your permission to go ahead and show us the way to manage the money. With your permission, I am going to open the book. Please give me an answer. These were the exact words I told him. So saying, I went to the bookshelf, closed my eyes and pulled the book, and as usual, closed my eyes and opened the page. Lo and behold, I burst out when I read these lines. Let me read that to you. The title of the chapter was APADBANDHAVA. APADBANDHAVA. From the book Sathya Sai Anandadai. Sathya Sai Anandadai. So here the author writes, the moment I opened, this is what I found. Swami, in inverted commas, Swami called us. We had gone there only to do Pada Namaskar, but had the good chance of talking to him. Swami came towards me and said, money, money, money. Worries about money. Excuse me. I was stunned, my dear brothers and sisters. I was shaken. Let me read further. Money, 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 worries about money. Do you know what you should worry about? You should worry that you have not yet realized God. You should worry that you have not yet realized God. I said, Swami, I too worry about it. Swami said, then why worry about this so much? As long as the purse, or you call it wallet here in America, as long as the purse or wallet was with you, you had to worry about it. Now that you have given it to me, it is my duty to look after you. Should you worry still? I said, we should not, Swami. We worry about repaying all the accumulated debts. We just do not see any way out. Swami explained, you are afraid because your faith in me has reduced. If you had complete faith in me, you would have not developed fear. Do you know what is Atmarpana? Whatever may happen, you should relentlessly follow him. He will do something or the other for you. He will somehow make everything all right. He pointing himself can do anything. Swami said, it is a pity that you are lost heart for such a trivial issue. I said, we are afraid of repaying the loans, picking up the thread of the earlier conversation. Swami consoled, keep yourself calm. You will get the money to repay the loans. And that's it, my dear brothers and sisters. The moment I read that, I was really taken back. This book was written several years ago. How in the world I will know that my answer will be sitting in this book for me, especially during this crucial time. And imagine how he has said that exact words. I am also talking about the accumulated debts that I have that we need to repay, and again we need money at this point of time, and exactly he is saying the same thing here. You are worried about money, not about me. You don't have enough faith in me. You are not trusting me. And he also gave the assurance, just calm down. I will take care of the problem. When your wallet is with me, why do you worry? Leave it to me and you do your duty, he says. That was a profound message, my dear brothers and sisters. I am really telling you how Swami can give you the apt answer that you can never ever imagine. How can you imagine that he will give you this kind of answer? And imagine my situation at that point of time. I burst out and I cried like anything for half an hour or so, seeing his mercy, seeing his grace, and also feeling that he is every moment with us. Excuse me. That he is every moment with us in everything that we do, in our thoughts, word and deed. He is there with us. So let us all hold on to that and be certain that he will take care, come what may. No matter whatever problem it is, he will take care. That is for sure, no doubt about it. So I just want to narrate these incidents because we all are one single family. Everybody has a problem, as I mentioned earlier. Everybody has a problem. But some of us, we don't want to reveal it because it will be a kind of dignity issue, we think. But I am telling you, my dear brothers and sisters, we all are one single family under the umbrella of our beloved Swami. So there's nothing, unless we share with each other. Tomorrow, if anybody is undergoing any financial problem, they'll think about this incident. Oh, when he can answer her, why not me? So they will definitely run to him and tell, okay, now it's your duty to take care of us also in the same manner. So that's why we all need to share. We have to share with each other and be supportive to each other. Because at the end, all he wants is that. Be loving to each other, be caring for each other, and be united with each other. This is what he tells us. So let us all march towards that. Having that firm faith, that what we call unshakable faith, that come what may, he is there to take care of us. You name it, any problem, he is there, that is for sure, no doubt about it. All we need to do is hold on to him and have that unshakable faith and surrender to him. Just want to share this with all of you. Thank you so much for listening to this. Sai Ram. Swami bless you all and the whole world, and Swami bless us all. Sai Ram.